Hello and welcome to lesson 4 of Momo's School for Scripting Good. In this lesson we're going to be making our first spells. The first spell we're going to be working with is the dummy spell. The dummy spell is pretty much the most powerful tool in our arsenal because it does absolutely nothing. That means that we can basically use it to summon in fancy effectlib effects on command and not actually have to strip away any functionality from the spell that we were using originally. There's 3 different ones. There's instant dummy spells that emanate from your current location. There's targeted dummy spells that emanate from a targeted entity's location. Keep in mind, a targeted dummy spell has to target an entity. A targeted dummy spell cannot target a block. If you want to target a block, then you need to be looking at a beam spell, a projectile spell, or a targeted area spell. But those are things that we're not going to go over in the 101 series. We're going to have to look at the MagicSpells 201 series that I will hopefully make one day, hopefully soon. So yeah, there's instant, which emanates from you instantly. There's target, which emanates from your target instantly, and there's buff, which keeps popping up at your target's location for as long as you set it. So buff follows people around as well, which is interesting. However, buff cannot do everything. Buff cannot do a lot of the fancy effectlib stuff. So, for this one, we will be making an instant dummy spell. I am always a huge advocate of copy pasting whenever you can copy paste. We're going to be working off the wiki. We're looking at the instant dummy spell. So let's make a spell. Text document. Call it spells, because all spells have to start with spells. My first dummy spell. I can spell. Not YAML. Let's call it my first spell. Colon. Tab it in because we want our code to look good. Swear to God, if I have to peer review your code and I don't know what's going on, I will not actually backhand you because that will be mean. But I will tell you to please use proper spacing and comment your code because I don't know what's going on. So get in the habit of commenting your code and making things look very readable. So we're just gonna copy an instant dummy spell so we don't mess up any of the formatting. Right. Well, what do we really need to happen here? We don't really need functionality, so we can skip a lot of the configs. That's the beauty of a dummy spell. Let's go back to that volley spell. We're gonna copy some stuff from there. There. Effects. Well, this is not projectile, so we'll just call it 1. Again, this is just a name, it's just a descriptor, it doesn't actually mean anything. We'll stick with effectlibentity, since we're not working with a projectile right now. I'm gonna go position caster. Let's start with just a base SphereEffect. This is all very, very basic, however, it should work unless I'm making a complete another fool of myself. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. That cast. Yay! Look at that. We cast our very first dummy spell. It's following us around because we gave it the effectlib entity instead of the normal effectlib. It's just I guess this is our life now until we get rid of it. What is this, the default duration? We're just gonna use this as a nice little exercise of browsing through the wiki. Configuration. Ah, there's your problem. The default duration is 0. It's for this it is. Maybe for dummy spells it's different. Huh, that's so interesting. Ah, this is buffs. Right. Right. Again, use these resources that are available to you. Always look through them if you're not sure of how to type something, what the formatting is. Make it a duration 5. Now let's change the particle to flame. Reload cast. Cast my first dummy. There, now we're being followed around by a sphere of flame. 3, 4, 5 seconds. Ah. Aha. Aha. I understand. I understand what we did wrong, because we changed the duration of the dummy spell when we should have been changing the duration of the effectlib. Let's just make these mistakes together, because mistakes are the only way you're gonna learn. We were looking at a SphereEffect, right? This effects have their own duration. Delete this. You already see here at the wiki that this is in milliseconds. So if we want this to last 10 seconds, we'll make it 10,000. Now it should be 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. Fast particles. There we go. Counting a little bit too fast, but it's definitely 10 seconds. What are we going to do here? We're going to make a shield that follows us around. That's an interesting thing to make. To make a shield, we need a radius of 1. Is that the proper spell radius? Again, use these resources, because there's a million ways to explain a single concept. However, a computer is only going to understand 1. Yep, radius 1. Let's go a little bit more than 1. Actually, nah, that's not yet. We want this to be offset. 1, so it touches the ground. There you go. Followed by a little bubble. We're bubble boys. However, this is a lot of bubble. Don't you think? There's a bit too much bubble. Let's change it up. We want less particles, so we look at particles. Default's 50. So let's take a look at particles. 15. Still a lot, but getting better. Let's up the radius. Up the radius 1.5. Y offset 1.5. Particles 10. Divine Shield! There we go. Look at us in our Divine Shield. You can't touch me. There we go. There's a first beautiful little dummy spell. Let's make a second one that does something entirely different. Browse through effectlib. What looks fun to us? DiscoBall. I am always a huge fan of DiscoBall. DiscoBall. It's the name of the spell. Spell class will once again be an instant dummy spell. Again, you are only as powerful as the amount of code snippets that you can quickly find. Never feel bad about copy pasting in effects. We were looking at a DiscoBallEffect. Always remember to type effect at the end, because that's what they're called in magic spells. So here we have class discoball. For us, it's called class discobalEffect because that's what MagicSpells renamed them into. Now let's say this time we don't want it to follow us, so we're just going to do effectlib because we want it to stay where we left it. Cast, reload, cast, discoball. Oh, it's definitely a discoball, however it's at our feet, so we don't like that. Copy and Y offset. 3. Again, never be self-conscious about copying. Don't do typing work that you've already done. Aha! Aha! That didn't work. See, that's interesting, because that might mean that the Y offset might not exist for this. That's why we have this resource, because different effects have different settings. Do differently. Target offset. Zero, which of course means 3 blocks in the air. Let's reload. That too doesn't work. Possibly be because we don't have a target. Never be afraid to just experiment with these. What if we call it relative offset? They say there's many different ways to describe a single thing, and you want to be looking at which one's right for you. There we go. Relative offset. Now we have a discoball. That is just perfect. Okay. Now let's say we want that to have a duration of 10. 10,000, of course, because it's in milliseconds. We want it to be... Let's see... Sphere particle. Would it be a cloud particle? Whereas the line particle... Water drop. Let's make a water wake. Here we go. It's a little cloud disco ball that's shooting. Water everywhere. That's pretty cool. Something that I'm interested in. Let's make that. This is actually a spell that I would be interested in actually using for something. Redstone. I'm going to make a ball of ice that shoots cold clouds in all directions. Using sphere cloud because we're using redstone, which means we're allowed to use color. Okay, it works, but the clouds are a lot, so we're going to up our magnitude here. Relative offset 5. Now we're looking at sphere radius. This is just my own thought process when making spells like these. Really what you should be doing is making your own spells at this point. But if you want to see how I do it, then keep watching this. Sphere radius. There it is. Get a big block sphere. Your particle count go bigger as well, because of course we're using a higher radius, so we need to be working with a lot of particles. Let's say 300. I actually don't think that that'll be enough either. This is cool, but I want it to be even higher up. Then. See, that's a cool boss ability. We made this. Did good. Well, that's just a demonstration of how we can make a cool little boss ability. Let's say I'm playing like a Snow Queen boss, and this is a great ability to have. It's cool. It looks kind of like a sort of an altered version of Diablo 2 Frozen Orb. Again, thanks for watching, and I advise that you stop watching now and start making your own dummy spells. Play around with them, have fun, make them your own. Thanks for watching.